Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell Inspiron 15-3558. Alright, so we're going to be upgrading this to an SSD. I actually cloned the hard drive to an SSD already. Now we're going to remove the battery. So to remove the battery, there's this little latch here. Just slide it over. It pops up. You can swing it over or flip it over, and then it comes out like this. Battery model number or type is right here. M5Y1K, so that's the battery model. They might sell aftermarket ones where they're kind of taller to get more battery life if you're looking for that. But yeah, all right. This one, keep in mind, we are going to have to take the keyboard out to get this thing apart, and it is a little bit complex. We're gonna first remove the CD drive or optical drive. There's one screw here, okay? So once you remove that screw, you should be able to slide this out. Let me move this thing out of the way. Okay, so the way I do that is I use my fingernail here and I kind of like slide it up and down as I kind of pull on it. Oh, do I have to remove this one as well? I might. I shouldn't have to. I actually put this screw in here because they were missing one and then it was causing the case to pop apart. But yeah, oh, this screw might actually be too wide here, so I have to help hold it. There we go. All right, can this come out? Usually it's just that one screw, but for some reason it's stuck in here. So we're gonna try one thing. I'm gonna use a bent out paper clip here, okay? And we're gonna use this to open up the CD drive, optical drive. There's a hole here. You can pop it in there and you can see it just pops out. All right, once you've done that, you can pull this tray out, and then I'm gonna grab the rail here instead of the CD drive, and we're gonna kind of wiggle this and pull on it and see. It doesn't seem to want to come out, so we'll leave that in for now. Let's go ahead and remove more screws and see if something else is holding it into place. All right, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. All right, anyways, we're just going to be removing all these screws here. Okay, if I didn't mention already, this is a JIS1 or PH1 screwdriver that we are using. Okay, and yeah, we're just going to continue removing all these screws. If I didn't already say, because I kind of say it in every video, so I kind of forget if I said it, but keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, flat side down like this on my desk. In the pattern I remove them. All right, so that way I know for sure where each screw came from. There's no guessing. You don't want to throw all the screws in a little tray and then get mixed up with which screw came from where, because if you do that, you can actually damage your computer by putting a screw that's too long or too big in the wrong spot. You can damage the screw mounts. You can actually have the screw. I've seen some where people put a screw that's too long and it actually pokes through the bottom of the case. So you do want to be careful. You don't want to just put whatever screws wherever. All right, they put a little plastic thing there, but you want to just ignore that. That is just to cover, I believe it's where they do like injection molding, and then it has a little piece that's not like, doesn't look nice, so they just cover that. All right, so we got all of that out. We're gonna be careful because the hinges now aren't being held down very strong. So we're gonna carefully open this up. All right, let me slowly, carefully open this up. You might want to, I'm actually having my hand over here holding these down. All right, so I think this side was the one that was kind of messed up. All right, and one other tip is after removing the battery, you can press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds if you're gonna do anything that has to do with the screen, LCD, LVDS connector, because if you don't do that, you can actually fry the backlight circuit, or sometimes you can damage the screen, the motherboard, or combination. All right, anyways, on the keyboard, you can see there's these, let me see if I zoom in a bit more so you can see better. There's some clips there. You can actually see them here. So I use this thin flat pry tool. This isn't a knife, it's actually a frosting thing, but it's super thin. Actually, this one wasn't made for frosting, it was made for like a pharmacy to get the pills and kind of put it. When I bought it, I actually bought it used from someone online because I was trying to buy a larger one that was actually made for frosting, and then they told me they had this which would be perfect, and it actually was. I found other things I can use for if people want to kind of find something similar, but those they're a lot thicker. So if you look at the difference here, I don't know if you can see the difference here. It's quite a bit thicker. It's probably like 3 or 4 times the thickness. Maybe even more. This thing is thin like paper almost. Anyways, we're gonna lift this up, and it helps to kind of push the sides down as you lift the middle. So just like this, okay? Just like this. Oops, I accidentally clipped this one back in. Okay, so lift that up and push it in. Okay, just like that. You might also have to kind of pull this down to make sure the clips aren't engaging. All right, and then there's a clip at the bottom too. So basically, as you pull it in like this, it pulls it away from the clips on the side. Then we're gonna do this, slide it up while it's kind of at an angle. Then we can kind of rotate it more. Usually I wouldn't rotate it this much, but I kind of want to show you guys here. We gotta unlatch this, so flip that latch up. Let me zoom in. Once you flip that latch, you can kind of pull this slightly up and back. And oops, is it not? There we go. Up and back, and there we go. So we got the keyboard out, and there's a keyboard model number stuff here. If you need that, you can pause, and right there, I think it's 0KPP2C. All right, we'll set that aside. All right, we got the optical disk drive connector here. Oh, okay, the connector is inside. So we're gonna flip this latch up, and we're gonna disconnect this cable. All right, this cable we have to remove because it's attached to this, but yeah. All right, we're gonna unlatch this as well. This is the trackpad or touchpad connector. Once you unlatch that, we should be able to lift this up. It looks like it's held down with some adhesive, so you do want to be very careful. I don't like that. Okay, anyways, there we go. You want to be careful because if you damage this cable, then your trackpad's not going to work, okay? And then we got this connector here, which I believe is for the power button. Okay, so we flip this latch up. And then same thing, we're gonna kind of grab this and pull it. Oh, actually, oh yeah, we do have to disconnect those. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and zoom back out a bit so you can see there are some screws we do need to remove. There's one up here. Again, keep all these screws in order. I know there are quite a few screws, but keep them all in order. There's another one down here. Okay, hopefully there's no screws hidden underneath the adhesive parts of these. Sometimes they like to hide screws under. Okay, it doesn't look like there's one. Okay, we got one up here. And the weather's kind of hot today. Then we got this here. And one more down here. Again, I think this is for the CD drive. So I got confused and thought the other one was, but I guess this one is. So let's see if we can actually pull the CD drive or optical drive out now. Huh, it still doesn't want to pop out. That's really weird. Well, I don't want to use too much force and then end up damaging something. So let's go ahead now and see if we can pop this out, or if we, hopefully the CD drive's not being trapped by anything there. Okay, so we're gonna pop this out. I'm gonna use my fingernails in the bottom part here and my thumb here, and we're just gonna basically rotate. So I push with my thumb and twist like this, okay? Just like that, you can hear it pop out. Be very careful because this cable is gonna have to go through this metal panel, okay? If you noticed. All right, you can see, pop this out. You don't wanna push against the trackpad too. I don't know if you noticed, I didn't pull on that area. Okay, now I'm going around the sides and basically doing the same thing to pop the clips. And then we'll go around this side and basically do the same thing. Again, the CD drive, I don't know why it's still stuck in there. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to come out already, but it doesn't want to come out. I don't know what's going on there. Oh wait, is it moving now? Okay, let me pop this tray out again and we'll try one more time. I don't know why it doesn't want to come out, but come on, there we go. Okay, I don't know why that was so difficult. I guess now I can see. Yeah, the screw is on the bottom of the laptop, not in the keyboard area. So I don't know why it was so hard to pull it out, but there we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and pop this thing out completely. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over here so you can kind of see. Oops, there are some hidden screws under here. So we do have to take the CD drive out first because, as you can see, there's 3 screws hidden underneath the CD drive. So I have this in my lap because I don't want to close the screen while it's like this. Okay, so get this screw out. and there are 3 screws that are here. Yeah, so definitely you do have to take the CD drive out before you can get the rest out. Okay, so we got those 3 out. All right, now let's go ahead and finish popping this thing out. Okay, so under there, pop this out. Okay, again, you want to be careful. So I'm pushing with my thumb through here. Okay. Oh, this one has plastic parts that are broken. But here you can see we can thread this through here. That means I'm going to have to use some kind of glue to hold that. So this piece, okay, there we go. Here you can see that cable is attached for the optical disk drive. And this piece is supposed to have plastic that holds it, but you can see it's broken. I think when the screw mounts broke earlier, those things broke off. And there's actually another metal plate there. So let me get that and show you that as well. So we'll put this aside for now. Okay. So be careful maneuvering this stuff, so give me a second. Okay, so here you can see this metal plate is also supposed to be here. Okay, I believe it goes this way. Yeah. So whatever happened before when they lost the screw, it ended up ripping this out. So I'm going to throw away this broken plastic stuff. And all these little holes, as you can see, are supposed to be melted plastic. You can put glue in there instead. I don't know why they... Oh, I guess because it's cheaper. I was going to say I don't know why they use that instead. But, okay, it looks like this one goes on top. So the CD drive one's down here. And then this one goes up here. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can use my 3D printer pen to kind of melt this plastic into place and hold that back down. Okay. Right now I have PETG plastic in there. So we'll see if I can use that to kind of melt these back into place and hold that down. So let me go get that and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. My 3D printer pen is heating up. As you can see, it's flashing red. Okay. And once this heats up enough, hopefully we can use this melted plastic thing to kind of just hold this down. I'm going to take this one out first. We're going to try and melt these into place. Okay, I don't know if the plastic types can mix, but we'll find out. Alright. Okay, gotta get some of this in. Yeah, I don't know if the plastic types are going to mix together. I might have to get PLA. I don't know if I have some with me, though. Well, we'll see what happens. Alright. Okay, so try and melt this plastic in here. And just try and stick it onto the other plastic. Okay. Basically, we try and flatten out the tops of the plastic piece here so it holds that in place. Okay. Alright, so here you can see now it holds itself in place. Good. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with this as well. Alright. I know most people aren't going to have this kind of thing to do this kind of repair. If you want, you can just use glue to do this. Okay, you don't have to use this. Glue will take longer to set, so keep that in mind if you are doing this, that you are going to have to wait for it to set. Okay, it's not going to be like this melted plastic where once it cools down it's like instantly set firm already. Okay. But basically we're just melting the tops of this plastic stuff so it holds itself in better. Come on, stay on there. Keeps wanting to move out of the way. Okay. gunk is building up on here. Okay. Okay, that one's completely broken off, so I can't even get that to go. It's not sticking right. There we go. Okay. All right, that should be good enough. Okay, good. Clean up the old stuff that's stuck on there. All right, and we should be good as far as that goes. Wasn't expecting to have to do that as part of the repair, but it is what it is. All right. Okay, so I'll set that aside for now. Let's go ahead and continue now. We're going to be installing the SSD into the computer. Here you can see this piece holds on well. All right, so we'll set that aside. Let's grab the computer here. Okay. So here we have the computer. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna tighten the hinge screws real quick. You can't really see because I'm kind of doing it off camera, but the hinge screws are a bit loose, so I'm tightening them down. Let me actually zoom out a little bit and see if I can show you. Man, why is it so glitchy, laggy? Okay, move the CD drive a little bit and show a little bit more. Okay, so basically I tighten these. I'm gonna add some thread locker because they came so loose. So I got this thread locker 262. All right. And basically I'm just going to add, oh, I guess these screw mounts are actually completely broken, so I don't know if I can even add this stuff. Yeah. Okay, I guess the screw mounts are completely broken, so I can't really add this. If I really wanted to add it, I'd basically have to redo or epoxy their hinge pieces together, because the thing that holds the screws underneath are broken. Anyways, we have the hard drive here. I'm gonna set the CD drive somewhere else because I don't have room there. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this now and then close the screen. So because the hinge screws are messed up, I have to push these down manually. Okay, let's flip this over. I need more room here, so let me get this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna move the 3D printer pen over. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and assemble this thing. We'll zoom in a bit. We'll use this as a thumbnail. Okay, so we're gonna replace the hard drive with the SSD. So it's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive here, okay, as you can see right there. Okay, I can't zoom in too far because the screws are on my desk and I can't move it the thing that far. Okay, so we got 2 screws holding in place. All right, so we're gonna remove both of them. One here and one here. All right, now that we got both screws out, we can lift this slightly. Be careful. Actually, we can flip this latch up here and remove the whole cable to make it a little bit safer to work on. So we're gonna lift this up. Okay, I'm gonna grab on the side, and then you can kind of pull this whole connector out. All right, I'm gonna pull this SATA connector off. I use my thumbnail to kind of pry it out like this. Okay, just like this. Is it stuck? We're gonna go from this side and pry from here. There we go. And then we're gonna now pry from here. Why is this stuck in there so strong? There we go. Okay, so we got that out. There's 4 screws holding this in. This is a 2.5-inch SATA hard disk drive. We are upgrading it to 2.5-inch SATA SSD. Again, keep all the screws in order. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove all these screws. And once I remove or replace the hard drive with the SSD, I'll go over all the internal components that I see here. Okay, one more screw. Alright, there we go. Then you can pull this off, and there's the hard drive. We're going to set that aside. We're going to get the SSD, same thing, 2.5-inch SATA SSD. There's multiple different kinds. You don't need a specific brand or anything. There are certain models and brands that I kind of know work better than others that are more reliable. But other than that, most of them should be pretty much fine. Usually there's no limitation to what 2.5-inch SATA drive you can use. Alright, so we're going to get all of these in. Okay. The ones I like are Samsung, Crucial, Kingston, and wait, did I say SanDisk? SanDisk. Samsung, Crucial, Kingston, and SanDisk. Alright, so once we get that, we're going to put this back on. Alright, be careful not to damage this cable. Here you can see there's this ribbon cable that goes underneath for the 2 USB ports and the headphone jack, audio jack. If you need to replace this, you are going to have to take the motherboard out, but if you're just replacing this, you can just undo the screw here and lift that out. Right, anyways, we're going to get this back in. Just line up that connector, slide it back into place. You can see that part of the beige or whatever color that is visible. That's how you know it's in all the way. Then slide your finger over the top to latch it back down. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and get these screws back in. So got this one here, and then I'm gonna somewhat hold the thing closer to the camera to show you guys the components that I see. There are 2 slots for RAM. Only one is currently being used. All right, so I'll show you. You just pop these 2 metal tabs to the side. It pops up, and you can go ahead and slide this out. All right, this is PC3L 12800S, so this is DDR3 RAM. You should be okay with any PC3L 12800S RAM. If you want, you can get 2 8-gig sticks and have a total of 16 gigs. I believe they do make 16-gig sticks of RAM that you can use as well, but it's really hard to find and super expensive, so I wouldn't do that. I would just go with the 2 8-gigs max. CPU is soldered to the motherboard here. You got the fan here. It looks like you do have to take the heatsink out or flip the motherboard over if you want to get access to remove the fan. There are tiny screws that hold the fan onto this metal plate that's part of the heatsink here. Right, wireless card is here. If you need to remove it, pull the tails up of these wires. I have videos showing it on other models. You can watch that if you need it. I don't know if you can read the model number of that there. There's 1 screw. When you remove it, it pops up like the RAM, and then you can pull it back. Okay, what else do we need? Speaker connector is down here. It connects here, and this speaker has a wire that runs along to the right speaker. Okay, it's not held in with screws. They're just held in with rubber pieces, so you can actually just lift these speakers out. All right, I don't want to take it out, so let me leave it there. You got the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. To remove that, you just push it inwards and then lift it out. You can use like a small plastic tool for that. If you do, be careful not to drop the battery onto the motherboard or logic board, of course. And fan connector there. It looks like the LCD LVDS connectors are underneath the motherboard. You got the power button cable here. We didn't actually have to disconnect that. And the trackpad cable we also didn't have to disconnect, as you can see. I keep forgetting because I've worked on several models that are similar to this, but I always forget. But anyways, that's pretty much it for now. We are going to open this back up. These screws for the hinges are kind of bad, so I'm going to have to hold them into place as I kind of pry it open. So I'm going to use my thumbs here to hold this open and then get my fingers in the screen, and then I'll use my fingers to push the screen open. Okay, just like this. All right, and then I'm going to keep using this now with my thumb inside. I'm going to hold the screen down and then with my stomach, because that's all I have left, and then we move it like that. All right, so there we go. We got that. I can flip this back over. As you can see, we didn't need to remove these 2. I always forget and I do it anyways. Anyways, we'll slide this connector back into place. Okay, good. make sure it's in, and then slide your finger over that to latch it back down. Same thing with the power button. If you are removing the motherboard, you do need to remove these, but if you're just opening it to replace the hard drive or upgrade the hard drive or the RAM, then you don't need to take these out, okay? And then same thing, slide your finger over to lock that down. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, put the bottom cover back on. Again, the bottom cover is a little tricky. You do have to slide this through the little hole there. So yeah, all right. It helps to kind of do this somewhat sideways like this. And then, do I need to put back any other screws? No, I think we're good. All right, then we're gonna grab this. Since we have this open, let me clean it a little bit. Okay, all right, so we're gonna get this cable here, just slot it through, just like this, okay? Once you get that all lined up, you can go ahead and latch all of these into place, okay? Make sure the cable's not getting caught on anything over here, that it's coming out, okay? And then we're gonna click all of this together. Because the hinges are somewhat broken, I'm gonna have to kind of do this while it's still open like this, okay? And then click all of this in. Sorry, I'm doing it off camera, but I have to because I don't want to risk accidentally this thing breaking again. Okay, and that one was broken. I had to actually get them a replacement screw. So I'm gonna put the hinge screws, the hinge screws through the bottom first. So if you're wondering, there's one screw back here and one screw back here. These are helping hold the hinge in place, so I'm gonna put those first. Okay, that way I can actually close the screen and not worry about it snapping itself. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it like this. Make sure these click into place. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and get those hinge screws in all the way. Okay. Make sure it's nice and tight so that the hinge holds on and doesn't come out. And one down here as well. Okay, there we go. Now we should be okay flipping it over and not worrying about it breaking itself. Right? Make sure this latches up and we'll get this cable back in. Okay, just like that. Make sure it's in all the way and then slide your finger over to latch it down. We'll put back these screws, of course. All right. Basically now we're just going to put everything back into place. Get that screw in, this screw in. Okay. Right, this screw in. And then we got the bottom two down here. We'll get this one and this one. All right, and the last one here. Good. All right, now let's go ahead and get the keyboard back in. So pretty straightforward. Make sure that latches up. Same thing. Get this cable, line it up, and slot it in. You might have to go slightly at an angle, like up, down, like that. Okay, and then kind of get this in. This one's a little bit tricky. You want to make sure it goes in straight in. Okay, only one side's going in for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna try doing the upper part first because it keeps doing this first. Come on, get in there. I might have to rotate it. Okay. It's probably gonna be harder for you guys to see now, but for me to get this in, I have to do it at the proper angle. Man, I don't know. This actually is a little bit tricky. For some reason it doesn't want to go in all the way. Come on, get in there. Come on, get in. I guess it helps to flap it like that. Can we, come on, why isn't it not going in? go. Actually, only one side keeps wanting to go in. It doesn't want to let both sides in. Okay, there we go, kind of. There we go. All right, got it in. Again, slide that over. Flip this back over. Okay, we're gonna slide the bottom feet back in first. Hold the top up, work your way up the sides. All right, hold the middle up again, slide your way up the sides, and then across. There we go. Keyboard's all clipped into place. Close this. Flip this back over. We're gonna get the 3 screws for the CD drive back in. Okay. All right, and the last one here. Good. Let's rotate this. We can now put the optical drive or CD drive back in. Make sure you don't put it in upside down. Okay, push that in. Good. And now let's get the rest of these screws back in. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Other than that, that's all there is to it. You're welcome to stay as I get all these screws in. We're going to power it up, make sure it's working okay, and I'll actually also optimize some settings. That's not going to be shown on camera. I actually have a video for that, I believe, on what I optimize for like Windows 10 and things like that. But yeah, let's get all these screws in, put the battery back in, turn it on, and make sure everything looks good. Okay, last 2 screws, and the battery. Okay. All right, let's get the battery back in. So the battery rotates like this. Put the back of it in first and then slot it back down, click it into place, and we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and power it up and see. Hopefully it should be good. Sometimes Dells are picky. When you change the hard drive, you have to reset the BIOS or something, but we'll see. It's spinning okay, so I think we should be good to go. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And I think we're good to go. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Right? Looks like it's booting. All right, let's drop this. Bye.